The shocking truth about Jesus' judgment. What awaits you at the white throne? Find out now. The whispers had filled the dusty air of the old church for decades, like ghostly echoes trapped within the cracked walls. What would happen at the white throne? Everyone wanted to know, but no one dared to ask. Each Sunday, the pastor would speak of impending judgment with a fiery fervor that sent shivers down spines. His voice would boom, reverberating off stained glass, raising the hairs on the back of your neck. The truth was so astonishing, it kept people up at night, tossing, turning, haunted by visions of their reckoning. There were strange sightings at the old church, too. The flickering of candle flames that danced like restless spirits, shadows creeping along the walls, making it seem like the building itself was alive. Locals claimed they heard whispers during midnight masses, faint words, pleading for forgiveness. A chill would grip the air, making every individual's skin crawl. Some believed those whispers were the damned, crying out from the abyss. Were they warning the living or seeking salvation themselves? It all escalated when a newcomer, a teenager named Lily, dared to explore the church's depths. On a stormy night, her flashlight flickered eerily, throwing ghostly shadows that seemed to move and taunt her. Her heart raced as she stumbled upon a hidden door, old and weathered, almost begging to be opened. A strange energy pulsed around her, thick as fog, and for an instant she felt something. Was it hope or despair? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Lily hesitated, her trembling hand hovering over the rusty handle. What awaited her beyond that threshold? Pain? Revelation? She had to know. The air grew heavy, saturated with fear and anticipation. Lightning struck, illuminating the ancient carvings on the door, symbols that seemed familiar yet unfathomable. It was as if the fate of the world rested on her young shoulders. Was this her moment, or was she stepping into a trap laid out for souls seeking judgment? The mystery coiled around her like a thick noose, pulling tighter as she took a breath and turned the handle. The door creaked open as if it had been waiting for her, yearning to be set free. A gust of cold wind rushed out, sending chills skittering down Lily's spine. The darkness beyond was suffocating, thick like smoke, wrapping around her legs and drawing her in. What lay ahead? A flood of questions crashed into her mind, but she had come too far to turn back. She stepped inside. Her flashlight beam cut through the darkness, illuminating a narrow passageway lined with ancient stone. The walls were damp, and she could hear something drip nearby, water, or perhaps something more sinister. Shadows flickered at the edges of her vision, dancing in and out like fleeting memories she couldn't grasp. Hello? Her voice trembled. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. What was she expecting? A response? The chilling air seemed to tighten its grip around her throat, every instinct screaming to run, yet curiosity held her in place. Just as she took a step deeper, her flashlight flickered violently before plunging her into darkness. Panic surged through her, a rush of icy adrenaline. The light returned, revealing a figure standing at the far end of the corridor. It was cloaked in shadows, its face obscured, but she felt its gaze on her, an invisible weight that pinned her against the wall. "Who is there?" she whispered, voice brittle as autumn leaves. The figure stepped closer, movements fluid like smoke. "You seek the truth, young one," it rasped, a voice hollow, echoing through the stone corridor. "But truth is a double-edged sword." Lily's heart raced. Was this the judgment her pastor spoke of? Was she really prepared to face what lay ahead? "What do you want?" Her breath felt like ice in her lungs. "You enter a sacred domain, where the secrets of the past await their time." The entity paused, and the air thickened with anticipation. "But know this, every truth bears a cost." Images flashed before her angry faces, cries for justice, and a bright white throne looming above all. She swallowed hard, struggling to decipher it all. Perhaps it was the collective judgment of the souls that had come before her, pleading for recognition and redemption. The thought chilled her. Will you embrace the revelations? The figure challenged, voice resonating off the walls. Or will you retreat back to ignorance, unknowing of the shadows that dwell within? Lily hesitated. What would she leave behind? What truths would haunt her dreams? Yet she could feel the energy pulling her forward like gravity, an undeniable urge to know. Without answering, she took a step toward the figure, heart thumping like a war drum in her chest. No turning back now, she thought. Suddenly, the corridor trembled, and the shadows surged, swirling around her. The air grew electric, tainted with an unseen power. As the figure extended an arm toward her, palm upturned, she felt the ground shift beneath her, a chasm opening wide, threatening to swallow her whole. The whispers escalated, familiar, haunting, insistent. Choose. But before she could make a decision, the shadows enveloped her, and she was plunged into a swirling void, where time and space collided, thoughts shattering like glass. In that moment of dark chaos, her fate hung in the balance. What awaited her was a truth so shocking, it could alter her existence and perhaps the fate of many. But she couldn't shake a creeping doubt. Was the light ahead salvation, or was it the edge of despair? And in that moment, she realized, the true judgment was about to begin. Lily fell through the darkness, weightless yet terrified, spiraling into the unknown. The whispers rose around her, softer yet desperate, like a breeze through a forest of tormented souls. Memories collided in a cacophony, faces she barely recognized twisted in grief and anger, her father, the community that turned silent, and echoes of those who had fought desperately for justice but found nothing but betrayal. An intense light loomed ahead, brighter than anything she had ever seen. It pulled at her like a magnet, each pulse of illumination striking her heart with urgency. As she drew closer, shapes began to emerge from the light, pale figures with familiar features, their eyes filled with sorrow and longing. Help us, they seemed to plead, voices intertwining, an eerie harmony of despair that made her blood run cold. You must understand. Understand what? Lily shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. What do you want from me? But no answer came. The figures shifted, fading into the pulsating light, leaving her alone on the precipice of revelation. With trembling hands, she reached out toward the glow, searching for something, anything to hold on to. Before her fingers could graze the surface, the ground beneath her lurched, yanking her backwards. She was drawn into a vast chamber, its walls adorned with inscriptions that glowed ominously in the dark. Each word pulsed with a heartbeat, echoing faintly like the silent screams of the past. Welcome to the Weaver's chamber, a voice intoned, deep and resonant. The cloaked figure from before stepped into view, mundane shadows shifting to reveal more of its form. Here you will see the fates intertwined, the truths you seek. Why? Lily gasped, still reeling from the tumultuous tumble she took moments before. Why do you show me this? Who are you? I am the keeper of souls, the figure answered, an unseen force lurking within the words. And here you will bear witness to the tales woven by your actions. Before Lily could process the weight of that statement, the walls surged with imagery, a cruel kaleidoscope of moments unspooling rapidly before her. She beheld scenes of pain, innocent lives intersected by rage and revenge, wronged souls seeking reconciliation, and friendships shattered by betrayal. Each image felt raw, almost like she witnessed it happening just a breath away. Her heart raced. These faces, they were familiar. They walked beside her daily. Yet here they revealed their truth. Their stories of struggle, loss, and an insatiable thirst for justice snared her breath. Echoes of her own life intertwined with theirs, decisions that seemed small, but ripples that transformed worlds. Do you see? The keeper urged, eyes aflame with intensity. Your fate is sewn with theirs. Every choice is a thread in this vast tapestry. Control my life? No! Lily felt a tightness knotting her stomach. I can't be responsible for all of this. Ah, but you already are, the keeper smiled knowingly. You have the power to change outcomes if you choose to face the truths you've buried. The judgment here transcends the simple scales. It's the reckoning that occurs within. She stepped back, overwhelmed. What if I refuse? What if I don't want this? Refusal is not an option, the keeper whispered, voice sorrowful yet firm. To evade the truth is to seal your own fate in darkness. You must decide, will you be part of their liberation, or will you succumb to despair? The walls trembled around her, vibrating with emotion, with hundreds of souls crying out, some in pain, others desperate for peace. Emotion twirled in her chest, building a storm she couldn't ignore. The weight of responsibility pressed on her, suffocating yet galvanizing, igniting a flicker of courage buried deep inside. But still, questions gnawed at her insides. What truth would she discover? What price would her soul pay for the revelations? And just as she thought she found her footing, a chilling laugh echoed through the chamber, shaking her confidence to its core. Choose wisely, Lily. The clock is ticking and the shadows are waiting. What lay ahead was a choice she never anticipated. Would she confront the darkness that loomed or allow it to consume her? And as she stared into the abyss of her own reflection, the chamber shuddered once more, unveiling a door that glowed with malevolence, a threshold to everything she feared to confront. Would she dare open it? The door in front of Lily pulsated ominously, a dark heart alive with menace. Shadows whispered around it, curling and coiling like snakes ready to strike. Her fingers twitched, hovering close, drawn toward the unknown. A jolt of fear shot through her as echoes from the keeper's words reverberated through her mind. To evade the truth is to seal your own fate in darkness. Can I turn back? She whispered to no one in particular. The chamber trembled again, as if the very walls were urging her forward, demanding she acknowledge the gravity of what lay beyond. Each second felt like an eternity, a gnawing anxiety clawing at the edges of her determination. What awaited her? With a deep breath, she pushed the door ajar, its hinges groaning in protest. A rush of icy air rushed out, engulfing her in the scent of damp earth and decay. It was a world beyond the veil of her own, a cruel reflection of her fears where shadows danced with abandon. Taking a tentative step inside, the light from the chamber faded behind her, swallowed by the darkness that lurked within. Suddenly, she was surrounded by figures. Ghostly silhouettes flickered in and out, their faces contorted in anguish, faces that spoke what words could not. She recognized them now, her heart sinking as the realization hit these were the very souls that had interwoven with hers, those who had suffered at the hands of injustice. Why are you here? One of the figures, a woman with hollow eyes, whispered, her voice drifting like smoke. You have the chance to change it all. The energy swirled around Lily, palpable and suffocating. She could feel the weight of their despair pressing against her, a chorus of suffering that begged for undoing. I didn't ask for this, Lily cried. I don't know how to help you. Help us by knowing the truth, another figure, a boy no older than 12, urged her with a desperate plea. He reached out, his hand quivering with hope. You must confront the pain of your own heart first. Lily swallowed hard. The pain. It was there, festering within her. The times she had wished things were different, the moments she had turned away from injustice in her own life. What do I need to see? She asked, trembling. As if in answer, an image erupted from the shadows, vivid and blinding. It was her own reflection, but twisted, warped by guilt and cowardice. She watched herself turn her back on someone in need, the shadows swallowing her empathy whole. No! She shouted, recoiling from the scene. I didn't mean it. I thought it wouldn't matter. The self-reproach surged in her chest, suffocating and brutal. But the keeper's voice echoed in her ears, relentless. Every thread matters, every choice suffused with meaning. Until you see, the cycle continues. The chambers shifted around her, morphing into her most hidden fears and regrets. Images flickered, friends she had abandoned, her father's disappointment etched on his face, community turned away. A weight settled heavily on her heart, thicker than anything she had ever known. Will you confront this? The woman's voice wrapped around her, full of urgency. Stay in the shadows, and you condemn us all. Lily's heart thumped loudly in her chest. Could she do this? Could she bear to peel back the layers and face what lay underneath? The fear of failure, of being judged, clawed at her mind. Yet something deep within stirred a flicker of strength ignited in the depths of her sorrow. "I can't hide any more," she whispered, filling the air with determination. "Not from you, not from myself." Suddenly, the chamber erupted with shrill screams, the shadows writhing in fury, but their response was not of anger. It was anticipation, as if her resolve had triggered something monumental. "Then step forward," the keeper commanded, an acute edge to the sound. "Step forward into the truth." Before she could comprehend, the world swirled, dragging her upwards, the weight of her soul as reckoning crashing down upon her. The door slammed shut behind her, but Lily felt herself propelled through darkness that burst with opportunities for redemption. And, just as she thought she could grasp something solid, a glimmer of hope, a dagger of fear sliced through her being. "What will I become?" The charge thrummed through her veins, awakening something she didn't fully understand yet, something profound. Would she be able to face the truth head-on, or would it shatter her completely? The answer loomed ahead, tantalizingly out of reach. What awaited Lily in the unforgiving light that awaited her at the end of this journey? Would she be liberated, or would the darkness devour her whole? Lily's senses exploded as she tumbled into a blinding light. It enveloped her like a cocoon, both warm and suffocating. The last remnants of darkness evaporated, leaving her breathless, heart pounding. As her eyes adjusted, she found herself standing on a desolate landscape, a wasteland cracked and barren. The ground was littered with remnants of memories, photographs torn in half, echoes of laughter twisted into cries. She felt as if she were walking through a graveyard of forgotten hopes. "Welcome," a voice boomed from above. She looked up and froze. A figure cloaked in shimmering light hovered, an ethereal presence that radiated authority. "I am the arbiter of truth. Here, every action, every choice weighs heavily." Lily felt a chill surge through her. "What are you doing here? What do you want from me?" The arbiter uncoiled into view, a face gentle yet fierce, as if etched from both sun and storm. "This is not about what I want. It's about what you need. You stand at the crossroads of your own reckoning. It is time to confront your past." "Why?" she pressed. "Why must I face it again? I've lived with the guilt." "Because until you face it, it will consume you. Your courage will shape not only your fate but the fate of those who linger in the shadows." The words struck deep. Each one felt like a hammer, driving the stakes higher. A bright light flared, and suddenly, memories surged like violent waves crashing against her resolve. Visions overwhelmed her, flooding her with unshed tears, the friend she abandoned to fit in, her mother's weary smile when tragedy struck, the boy she had shunned in his darkest hour. Each scene bled with regret and anguish, each moment a knife twisting in her heart. "Stop! I can't bear it!" she choked out, falling to her knees. "Bear it you must," the arbiter intoned, the weight of compassion evident in its voice. "The truth is not an enemy, it is a mirror. Look closely, and it shall guide you." The ground rumbled, and an image crystallized before her, shimmering and alive. She saw an invisible thread weaving through each person she had wronged, binding their destinies together, her choices forming a tapestry of pain. The colors twisted, running dark and murky, reflecting the hurt she had inflicted without thought. "What can I do?" she whispered, despair creeping into her voice. "It's too late for me. I've already made my mistakes." The arbiter's gaze intensified, shimmering with unyielding strength. "It is never too late. Light cannot exist without darkness, nor can redemption thrive without remorse. Will you choose to confront this?" She clenched her fists, the magnitude of it washing over her like a flood. "I don't know if I have the strength." "Strength is forged in the fire of truth," the arbiter replied. "Embrace it, and you will find the light in your soul that can break the cycle." Suddenly, the haunting laughter transformed into sirens, piercing the stillness as the landscape shifted again. In a heartbeat, she was no longer alone. Ghostly figures emerged, faces that twisted in pain, eyes glaring at her, accusing yet pleading. "Do you see us?" A chorus of whispers echoed. "Will you finally acknowledge our pain?" Lily felt their anguish weight her down like bricks. she gasped, feeling the guilt wash over her anew, but then a flicker of resolve ignited. I see you, she shouted, her voice trembling but firm. I see you, all of you. And I'm here to remember. I'm here to change. The ground beneath her trembled with hope as the air around the figures shimmered, their turmoil reacting to her confession. They began to coalesce, forming connections with the unseen threads, rising like phantoms of promise. Yet as the shadows began to shift, a dark storm brewed at the edge of her vision. The chilling echo of the arbiter's tolling voice crept in. Your moment of reckoning is at hand. Will you rise, or will you fall? With an overwhelming rush, she felt the surge of destiny twisting her fate. Would she rise to accept the truth, or would she break under the weight of her past? As the storm surged, something deep inside Lily trembled fear, mingled with the raw potency of her choices. Will I be enough? She breathed, sensing the storm inch closer. The answer danced just out of view, dangerous and inviting. The choice hung heavy in the air, and in that electrifying instant, everything teetered on the brink of chaos. What would be born from this reckoning? Would she seize her fate, or would the shadows drag her back into despair? The storm closed in, dark clouds swirling like a vengeful beast, drawing closer with every breath she took. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating the faces of the tortured figures around her. Their expressions morphed from anger to anticipation. They were waiting for her to make a choice. Rise or fall, the arbiter echoed, its voice a crashing wave, drowning out the tempest's growl. Lily's heart raced. She felt the weight of countless eyes upon her, a blend of suspicion and hope. Each figure bore a connection to her past, their pain echoing in her very bones. The boy from high school. Her mother's last moments. They hovered, a reminder of all she had done and failed to do. Will I be enough? She whispered again, her voice barely audible over the approaching storm. The arbiter hovered near her side, its light a shield against the creeping darkness. You must embrace the truth, Lily. Let it fuel your strength. Remember who you were and who you can become. With her knees pressed against the cracked earth, she felt an ember of courage flicker to life. Could she resist the pull of the shadows? Could she transform her shame into salvation? Do it, the ethereal figure urged, its eyes fierce yet kind. Embrace your history, your pain, channel it. The tempest roared, and for an instant, the cacophony subsided, silencing her fears. With clenched fists she rose, renewing her resolve. I will face my past. I will confront my wrongs. As the words escaped her lips, the shadows recoiled, revealing shimmer beneath them. Light pierced through the darkness, pushing back the storm as if her declaration was a sword cutting through the void. The figures around her began to glow, the energies of connection, pain, and hope intertwining and brightening the landscape. But the storm wouldn't surrender easily. Thunder rumbled, and from the darkness, a new presence loomed, sharp and menacing. It loomed behind the arbiter, an embodiment of dread and doubt, its voice raspy and cold. You think you can claim redemption? You're nothing but a coward. Look at what you left behind. Lily's heart sank at the cruel reminder. She staggered but steadied herself, forcing the memories to rise to the surface. She saw her friend, once vibrant and full of dreams, now trapped in regret. She felt the sting of every missed connection, the ache of whispers that haunted her nights. Each face exposed a wound she had tried to bury, one she must confront. Cowardice? No! She shouted defiantly into the gales. I face the truth today. I will bear it, and I will make amends. As her voice strengthened, the encroaching dark recoiled. The storm raged, but in her mind's eye, a bridge of light began to form, a path leading up from the shadows to a dawn she hadn't dared to envision. The arbiter nodded, its form shimmering with pride. Yes. Light is born from the willingness to confront the shadows. Suddenly, the storm unleashed a torrential downpour, each drop transforming into striking images from her past, joyful, painful, confusing. Her heart raced as she reached out, desperate to touch them, to piece together the puzzle of her existence. Remember, each hurt has a lesson. Each shadow an opportunity. The arbiter called out, bolstering her determination. Lily steadied her breath, the storm shifting and swirling around her. She felt the connections, the weight of her actions intertwining with the lives of others. The figures transformed, each expressing the journey to forgiveness, and then she felt it. A spark of warmth igniting her core. If I can reconcile with my truth, so can they. I can mend the tapestry woven of pain. The storm howled, but she held her ground, feeling the threads of fate pulling her closer to those she had wronged. Ghostly hands reached out, clasping her own, and in that moment she understood they were not condemning her, but waiting for her to lift the veil of despair. Will you choose to fight? The arbiter declared, its voice resonating with clarity. Will you break the cycle of darkness? Or will you let it consume you? Lily's choice lay before her, vivid and raw. The whirlwind danced hesitantly around her, waiting. With a surge of courage, she gripped the shimmering threads linking them all. I choose to fight, she shouted, the words cascading like a torrent. But just as her resolution solidified, a deafening crack of thunder erupted, and darkness surged with renewed energy. The storm did not take kindly to defiance, and a shadowy hand shot forward, aiming to pull her back into its depths. Lily! The arbiter's voice pierced through the chaos. Your journey is only beginning. Will you face the final truth? Will you defy the darkness even as it tries to drag you back? As the storm gripped her, she felt her feet slip on the cracked ground. Each shuddering pulse echoed her heartbeat, a reminder of the struggles still ahead. This battle was far from over, and she needed to be ready. But doubt lifted its voice above the storm, echoing her unfinished past. Would she stand firm? What awaited her beyond the storms that threatened to consume her? As her grip weakened, she realized the choice was hers alone. Could she defy what was coming? As the shadows surrounded her, one question remained piercing and relentless. Could she withstand the ultimate test of her will? The moment Lily declared her choice, the surrounding darkness lunged with a ferocity that stole the air from her lungs. It felt like the gravity of shame, of every wrong turn, and every unkind word she'd ever uttered was clawing at her, trying to reclaim her. With a gasp, she fought against the surge, her fingers slipping as the storm's icy fingers coiled around her wrist. I want to be undone, she screamed, her voice rising above the cacophony, filled with a raw desperation. Sparkling threads of light wove through her grasp, sustaining her as they shone brighter, fending off the encroaching shadows. The arbiter surged forward, its glowing form providing a beacon in the hostile swirl. Focus, Lily! Channel your resolve into this moment. Reclaim what is yours! Breathless but focused, Lily drew the energy of those memories, both painful and joyous. Images swirled around her, forming a cyclone of her life, the laughter shared with friends, the warmth of her mother's embrace, the tears of loss. They were anchors in this storm, tethering her to the truth of who she was and could be. She felt the shadow's grip slacken for a mere heartbeat, a glimmer of freedom flickering by her fingertips. Yet, just then, the ominous voice echoed once more, a cold whisper that slithered into her mind, sowing seeds of doubt. You think your actions matter? You're just one among many. You are insignificant. With each word, the storm intensified, casting deeper shadows that reached for her with relentless intent. Inside, her heart thundered, the terror threatening to drown out her resolve. But she couldn't allow this darkness to win. Not now. Insignificant? She echoed, a fierce defiance igniting within her. Every small choice builds a life. Every word can heal or break. I will not become a whisper in this tempest, I will be a roar. The world exploded in an eruption of light. With a powerful surge, she placed her other hand on the luminous threads, pulling them tighter, allowing the light to flood through her. It burned through her doubts, igniting every corner of her soul, igniting the memories that had once haunted her. The storm responded violently, the wind shrieking, the lightning striking with reckless abandon. But at that moment, undeterred, Lily found her voice. I embrace every part of who I am. My past does not define me. My choices do. The figures enveloped her, their expressions softening into expressions of understanding instead of condemnation. Each reached for her hands, connecting the strength of 1,000 shared stories. It was like a tapestry of hope, woven with resilience from all the pain. But the shadow didn't retreat quietly, it coiled closer, dark and unyielding. You can't escape your true self. I will drag you down until you see you're alone. No! She cried out, her heart pounding furiously. I am never alone. I have the strength of my past with me. I stand not just for myself but for those I hold dear. I choose to reforge my narrative. In that instant, she summoned an immense wave of energy, a flood of light surging from within. It illuminated the storm, revealing the twisted forms of doubt, fear, and despair that loomed nearby. The light didn't just push the shadows back, it transformed them. Each flicker of brilliance magnified her resolve, merging her energy with each figure's story. With a final, furious shout, she surged forth, her determination blazing brighter than the storm. I am the author of my fate. I choose to fight through this darkness. As the lush palette of light transformed the tempest, a dreadful howl echoed through the storm. The shadows screamed, recoiling from the light that broke through. But deep within the swirling chaos, something shifted, a new intensity swelling along the edges, and without warning, a deeper shadow arose, far more menacing than before, a figure cloaked in dark wisps that clawed at the remnants of her flickering hope. Did you think that just because you shout against your darkness, it will listen? A storm this fierce does not relent easily. Lily felt the ground tremble beneath her once again, a potent reminder that the ultimate challenge was just beginning. Would she truly be able to defy this insidious presence? And could the light she'd nurtured withstand the raucous roar of the shadow's final stand? The darkness gathered around its new leader, swelling ominously, demanding her fear. As its chilling voice rose above the storm, one certainty rose above all else. The conflict was escalating, and the real battle for her very existence was yet to unfold. Did she possess the strength to prevail? The storm was far from defeated, and its most ferocious phase was yet to come. Would she shine bright enough to overcome the final test of her will? As she faced this looming specter, dread washed over her like a tidal wave. What horrors awaited when the darkness struck back? As the new shadow coalesced, its form twisted like smoke in the wind, each movement sending shivers of dread through the air. It loomed tall, its presence a wave of oppressive weight pressing down on Lily, squeezing the air from her lungs. You've barely begun to understand the fight you face, little light, it hissed, its voice as chilling as the abyss. What do you think will happen when your resilience falters? Lily's heart raced wildly in response, echoing in her ears like a war drum. It was terrifying to think her light could wane, that her fierce words could dissipate into vapor before this monstrous force. And yet she felt the warmth of the shimmering threads still pulsing around her wrists, a reminder of every moment she fought for, every voice that stood beside her. His laughter sliced through her thoughts, fierce and mocking. You believe those memories of yours can shield you? Think again. Every cherished bond will be severed. You will watch and weep as your light fades and shadows seep into your very core. Just then, a tremor coursed through Lily's legs, as if the ground beneath her wanted to swallow her whole. She clenched her fists, willing the tremors to stop, and steadied herself against the surge of terror rolling through her. You will not break me. My bonds are stronger than your threats, she shot back, fury igniting her voice, though fear subtly lingered like a storm cloud. Stronger? The shadow spat, its dark tendrils writhing closer, wrapping around the light threads. We will see. It lunged, a whirling tempest of dread ready to swallow her whole. In that moment, Lily remembered the faces of those she loved, the laughter of her friends, and the smiles from familiar strangers, each one a guiding light in her darkest hours. Summoning that love, she took a deep breath, her voice rising once more. You don't get to decide my fate. I'm not afraid of you. The shadow recoiled, hissing in surprise, its confidence wavering, though it quickly masked its fear under layers of malice. Ah, but fear is the heart of the matter, isn't it? You may have had moments of light, but darkness creeps in when you least expect it. When you feel alone. Lily felt a pang in her chest, a flicker of doubt as images of past failures flashed through her mind, moments of isolation, pain, desperation. Shadows of those memories clawed at her resolve, whispering their doubt-fueled poison. But she took a step forward, defiance burning brightly within her. No more! I will not be a prisoner of my fears. I choose to rise above. With each word spoken, the light around her pulsed rhythmically, responding to her declaration of self. It shimmered vigorously, pushing back the swirling darkness, banishing the shadow-esque grasp from her wrist. The ground shook violently as both light and dark clashed, creating a tumultuous atmosphere that twisted and turned like a tempest. Foolish girl! The shadow roared, twisting violently in fury. You can't fight me forever. I will expose your flaws. I will lay them bare for the world to mock. The pain in its voice revealed a crack of vulnerability, yet it quickly masked it with darker threats that danced across her mind. Indeed, vulnerability lingered between them, thickening the already stormy air. But within this raw exchange, in that charged breath of silence, she felt a tremor of understanding, a strange sense of camaraderie. It was madness, yet undeniably real. Don't you see? She found herself saying, her voice softer now, searching for something beneath the layers of bitterness in the shadows. Even those flaws can teach. They don't erase my courage. For a brief, harrowing moment, the shadow paused. Almost eerily, the wind stilled as it considered her words. But then, dread rippled through the air once more. The silence was shattered as the darkness swelled, raining terror over hope. Enough of this! The shadow roared, its fury igniting the storm anew, each gust carrying promises of anguish. With its ferocious reawakening, it lunged forward again, bearing a gaping maw of blackness designed to swallow her whole. Time blurred. As Lily braced herself against the onslaught, heart pounding, light flickering like a candle fighting an echoing storm. Could she withstand this overwhelming pressure? Or would the darkness finally prove to be more than a mere shadow? The answer loomed closer, as the final confrontation threatened to engulf her. And deep within, Lily knew something was about to shatter. Would she emerge intact or be consumed once and for all? The claws of fate were closing in around her, and she had to act now. Would the light be enough? As the darkness bore down, ready to unleash its devastation, Lily felt a shiver of something more terrifying than fear, a terrible sense of impending revelation. What awaited her in the depths of this fray? As her heart raced, an unsettling truth tugged at her consciousness, whispering desperate warning. What if this darkness held secrets that could change everything? The darkness crashed upon her like a rogue wave, raw and relentless. Lily's breath caught in her throat as the shadow lunged toward her, its maw wide, filled with churning shadows that threatened to swallow her light whole. Panic surged through her veins, but as she stood there, trembling but resolute, the light around her flared brighter, ignited by the very essence of her will. You won't take me! She screamed it against the oncoming storm, the sound reverberating all around her, breaking apart the suffocating silence. She raised her hands, and in doing so, she felt the threads of connection, woven by love and faith, pulsing powerfully at her wrists. It was more than just a defense, it was a lifeline. The shadow hesitated, its momentum faltering as if struck by some unseen force. Your spirit is admirable, but ultimately futile, it hissed, taking a step back, eyeing her with a mixture of rage and despair. There was something flickering behind its malevolence, a hint of something fragile and hurt. The ground beneath them began to rumble, mirroring the clash between the opposites. The air became electric, pulsating with the energy of their struggle. What do you really fear? The shadow taunted, curling its tendrils in a serpentine manner, creeping closer, rummaging for cracks in her composure. The question was so direct, it almost stilled her. Did it know her so well? A wave of emotions washed over her: doubt, sorrow, but deeper still was a core of unwavering strength. I fear losing everything I've fought for, she admitted, her voice shaking but defiant. The shadow laughed, a hollow sound that sliced through her. Then you're already beaten. Your precious bonds will betray you, just as they always have. It surged forward again, this time with reckless abandon, devoid of its being wrapped in fury. Lily met it head-on, instinctively drawing upon the memories that filled her heart, days spent in laughter, evenings bonded over shared dreams, the warmth of strangers' kindness. With every heartbeat, she dimmed the consuming dread around her. They make me stronger, They are what I fight for," she declared, and the light intensified, golden and fierce, a glowing halo of purpose. The ground quaked beneath her again, fissures carving through as the shadow writhed and screeched. "You think this is strength?" it countered, voice dripping with derision. "You mistake your memories for power. They are chains." And suddenly, she grasped at an idea, something that flickered just beyond her grasp. "No! They're my wings!" With a breath that felt like victory, she forced her gaze to meet the cold emptiness of its swirling face. "If you think I'll let you ruin me, you're mistaken." Flashes of light erupted from her, cleansing the air. The darkness recoiled, and for the first time, hesitation painted its face. Lily could feel it, a shift in the atmosphere, a weakening of the shadow's resolve. She pressed on, searching for that hidden truth within the dark. "What are you really afraid of?" The shadow paused, something flickering in the void of its depths, a hint of vulnerability that felt foreign yet palpable. "I am nothing," it rasped, its confidence shaking. "Without the fear of your failure, I have no power." Just then, a thought struck her like a lightning bolt. "But what if I refuse to fail?" she questioned, a challenge infusing her voice. "What if I embrace who I am, flaws and all? What if I choose to love despite it all?" The shadow writhed, visibly upset, a whirlwind of dark energy contorting in upon itself, struggling against the luminescence that radiated from her. "You will see. You will regret this defiance, little light. I will return." In that moment, the first hint of hope flickered through her, revealing glimmers of possibility. Could it be that the very essence of the darkness relied on her acceptance of despair? The thought punctured her heart with urgency, a realization that could change everything. As the ground trembled violently, the balance of power shifted again, and she felt the weight of choice suspended in the air. What lay beyond this confrontation? If she could conquer this fear, what would await her next? The path felt unclear, with sharp edges and unexpected turns. But she wouldn't face it alone. Clutching the light that span around her, she shouted, "I won't let you win." But what if the battle was just the beginning? What secrets awaited in the depths of this storm? In that storm, she sensed the ominous presence retreating, but it did not vanish completely. A new force began to pull away, revealing yet another layer of darkness that hinted at something far more sinister lying in wait. And as she stood defiantly, breathless and unyielding, a single question loomed in her mind, heavier than before. What would it mean if she finally faced the truth, and the darkness came back for more? Lily stood at the edge of the storm, a tempest writhing with chaos and shadows. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat a steadfast reminder that she had the power to change everything. "I will confront you," she cried, the words bursting forth with renewed energy. "I will not let you define me." The darkness recoiled, swirling with confusion. It was a moment of uncertainty that sparked something within her. "Void of fear, you have no power over me." The light around her flared, illuminating the spectral figures that lingered, their faces now filled with hope instead of despair. Each one reached out, like branches of a tree, their warmth wrapping around her, lending her strength. Suddenly, the shadow lunged again, powerful and fierce. "You think you can escape me?" it roared, its voice a cacophony that filled the air with dread. "I am your past, and you are nothing without me." But Lily recognized this voice for what it was, a falsehood woven from her deepest fears and insecurities. "No!" she yelled, determination igniting her voice. "I am not my fears. I am my choices." With every word, she felt the light grow, pushing against the shadows that sought to encase her. The storm strained and screeched. She could almost feel its confusion as it buckled under the weight of her conviction. "Your choices? They haunt you!" The darkness thrashed, furious shadows flaring wildly as though grasping for her light. "They are the chains that bind you to your mistakes." Lily's heart ached, yet she could see the truth flickering amid the storm. "But they taught me," she countered, fighting back the swirling suffocation of despair. "They showed me how to grow. How to avoid the mistakes I made." The shadows hesitated, swirling about like trapped wisps beneath a cage. "You may choose, but you will always carry me," it hissed softly, the cruel edge of finality etching back into its tone. You cannot escape your past. A moment of doubt washed over her like a cold wave, threatening to pull her beneath the surface. But those spirits, the faces of her past, hovered around her, urging her forward. We are here, living proof that even pain brings strength, that connections heal, a soft voice among them said. It was the boy she once overlooked, eyes shining with understanding. Face it, Lily, we stand with you. In that small flicker, Lily seized her courage, igniting a fire within her that surged outwards. You don't define who I am, she shouted fiercely, channeling her pain not as a weakness but as a testament of resilience. I will carry my past as a badge of honor, not shame. The ground trembled, the storm shook violently, but Lily pressed on. Her heart raced as radiant threads of clarity shot through her. You may have been part of my story, but you will not be the end of it. With a roar, she opened her arms wide, inviting the energy around her to absorb all the pain, all the fears, the very threads that tightened around her soul. I accept you, she cried, a fusion of defiance and resolution echoing powerfully, and then it happened. The storm erupted, a brilliant flash of light dispersed the horrid darkness, ripping apart the shadows and dazzling light. For the first time, Lily stood unshielded, vulnerable, yet so powerful as each fragment of shadow writhed in retreat. You cannot, the darkness gasped, a hint of fear tainting its previous ferocity as it spiraled away, both furious and confused. I can and I will. The words flowed through her, harmonized with the memories she carried and those who stood by her side. Your reign is over. The true fight lies within me. With one last surge of courage, she severed the last remnants of darkness clinging to her, each thread snapping like a long-expected promise being fulfilled. The storm dissipated, replaced by a serene calm that embraced her in its warmth. And as the dawn of hope brightened the horizon, she stood before the arbiter, whose glowing presence radiated approval. You faced your darkness, Lily. You defied it. And now you are free. She absorbed the glow of hope like the sunrise breaking through the night. Familiar faces surrounded her, each one filled with beauty, love, and support. The knowledge of her journey unfurled like a blossoming flower. She not only defeated the darkness but transformed it through acceptance and understanding. A battle well fought, the arbiter proclaimed, pride and admiration weaving through its voice. But this is not an end, it's your beginning. The tapestry you shape from here is yours alone. Lily took a deep breath, feeling lighter than she had ever felt before, radiant with newfound clarity. I will carry these lessons forward, she promised, gazing at each soul. With every connection I make, I'll weave light into the fabric of our shared existence. And as she stepped forward into her new reality, a sense of direction infused her being. The glimmer of the sunlight glinted off her face, illuminating the path ahead, a road paved with love, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to learn from the past while nurturing a brighter future. They stood together, not just as memories of suffering but as a collective force for change. The shadows retreated behind her, powerless and diminished, leaving only a glimmer of hope shimmering in the distance. Each step brought her closer to her destiny, ready to embrace all that lay ahead. She was not just Lily anymore, she was a light among shadows, and now she knew how to shine even brighter. If you felt the power of Lily's journey and the call of courage within you, it's time to take action. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss our next exclusive story. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this conclusion. What did Lily's journey mean to you? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Together, let us light up the world.